You checking out the ProQuo Show. But yo, Pro's in his car. So it's only so live right now, folks. So you hearing Pro, you're not seeing Pro. Pro is picking up pizza and bringing it home. And man, wouldn't you know, they had the 9:15 ready time. We ordered it like 8:05. And my wife is like, yo, the pizza's not going to be ready in time for you to do your show. And I was like, you know what? It will. A lot of times they say that extra time and I get there and it's not. We tend to do like Fridays, we'll do some takeout or something. And she was like, yeah, but the last time it wasn't ready. So I am away from pulling in the crib. So we getting ready to. Maybe I should sing it to you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We getting ready to. Oh, so ready to. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you notice the voice inflection on the high note right there? I want everybody who didn't catch this, hopefully they rewind it and get that, that classic singing, hear this high quality vocal, see the commitment that we do for you at the ProQuo Show. The commitment we do. It'd be easy to just mail it in and just be like, no, not going to be there in time. Just going to, start it later or whatever. But no, we say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run it. And I don't know what the thing is. I wrote live in 5 and I wrote it 3 times in a row and it said 5 in live. But I kind of, after 3 times, I got to kind of roll with it and be like, all right, it's 5 in live. In 5, we'll be live. And that's 5 minutes from now, by the way. I'm going to go with that. So you give me 5, I'll be in the house, get this pizza distributed, and I'll be ready for you. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yo, yo. How we doing? All right. I think I got the fake pro out of there. We got imposter pro out of there. Whoa. All right. Now everybody probably thinks pro isn't live. So let's change. Let's flip the script on that. All right. Let me do what I gotta do here. Get us ready. Because we say we're getting ready to. We're getting ready to. So ready to. Let's see. Bam. We'll go public. Yeah. In here. All right. All right. We in here, baby. It's pro. Now you know. Yo, for those of you who were really diehard, who were like 9 o'clock, like, let me check him out. And I saw a couple of y'all. You were like, let me check out 9 o'clock. I told you I was going to get pizza, right? I was trying to get pizza. Now we do the takeout thing a little bit, on the Fridays or whatever. So I was going to get pizza, and my wife was like, yo, they're not going to be ready in time. We ordered like a few minutes past 8. And she's like, the thing says like past 9, it's not going to be ready in time for the ProQuo show. But you know what? I said, that's all right. I got it. I figured I could start the show remotely if I needed to. It's like 2 weeks in a row that I'm just eating on the show. It's the only bad times I'm eating is when I'm doing these live streams. Been eating pretty well. Um, Shout out to Miss Gibbs. Speaking of eating well, she ordered the food for us at our professional development. She had Maggiano's. So I had Maggiano's yesterday, which is Italian. So it was vegetarian, but it was Italian. So it's only so healthy you can be. You got some cheese in there, kind of like the pizza. So I'm going to try to be good and stick to one slice. I might go to two. And trying to make things work. You know what I mean? Trying to make the dream work. So let's see. Let's see if we're good here. I'm checking out the ProQuo Show. Yes, ProQuo was good, live in your area. So let's talk about it. Let's get it underway. This is going to be a short show, and most of the time what we're going to try to do is keep the ProQuo Show from 9 to 10, strictly from 9 to 10. So I'm going to pull up a few things here for you. You tell me if I'm doing wrong. But I wanted to mention, in case you didn't know, a shout out to everybody watching us on Facebook and on the rewinds and doing what you got to do. So I'm typing in right now, Dark Poetry, Professor Lyrical in YouTube, and I have found it. So 15 views. 15 views. It just came out yesterday. So 15 views on the topic page. The reason I'm doing that is topic pages are one of the easiest things to find. You don't need subscriptions to YouTube and all that kind of stuff, right, to have this thing play in the way you want it to play. So I'm going to use that as the way we bring it to you. Now, I know Facebook is usually funny about this kind of stuff, but shout out to Chica. If you haven't heard the song already, I'm going to put the link in the chat for you. So it is Dark Poetry. The movie comes out tomorrow at the Cinequest Film Festival. If you've heard us on the show before, you've heard me talking about it. This is the link right here for the song itself. It's called Dark Poetry. I made that. Shout out to my man M. Dot and to Jay. Jay's legendary, who made they produced the track. And this is the track. If you see the movie, which hopefully you'll get to see on some large distributor soon, I'm assuming it's going to do great. I know it's already killing it at the festival. In fact, let me pull up her page before I share the song with you. I'm going to pull up her Instagram so you can see who I'm talking about. And by her, I mean Patricia Chica. She's the director of the movie. They have started a couple new pages for the movie as well. So let me go to, let's see. Let me find one of her pages here. Which one should we do? Let's go to, I'll share this with y'all in a second. Chica Tronica. Boom. Let's see if she's putting these on her personal page. Yeah, she's doing some on the personal page, and she's doing some on the movie page. So let's see what they got there. So we're gonna go to Chica's page. I'm going to share screen over at Instagram so you can get a feel for what this movie's about and what she's doing. And this is her Instagram page. So that is Chicatronica. She is the director of this movie. There is some scenes from them out there at Cinequest. You get the idea. Cinequest, they're having a little fun time out there doing the big superstar stuff. So they are making waves out there. Now, on the Montreal Girls page, I think they've started the page as well. Let's see what this one is. That's her with Hakim, the star of the movie. I believe. Looks like him from a distance. I can't really tell. Yes, it is. That is Hakim right there. Let's give us some audio. They're having a little fun time. They should be dancing to Montreal Girls theme song, which is dark poetry. I mean, we call it the theme song because what I was going to say about the song is when you see the movie, you realize in retrospect when you hear the song again that the lyrics aren't just lyrics. I mean, they sound like just lyrics, but when you play it again, they're really the intimate lyrics to his lyrics. In other words, he's a spoken word artist, and so I've taken a lot of the bits and pieces of that and made it relate to the movie and his story. And so when you play them after you see the movie and you hear it back, it's kind of understandable what we're doing. So that's really for like the deep listeners. So let's go to Montreal Girls. There's the movie. Let's give you a little bit more on that. So over here, this was them doing their thing.
Going crazy for Montreal Girls.
That's it. That's Hakim, the star of the show.
Nothing ever feels the same.
Producers, we got some other actors.
Back in the hat.
Just saw the press out there at the festival. Expecting big things from this movie. People are really excited about it.
Going crazy for Montreal Girls.
That's one of the songs from the movie as well. I have not heard all the songs. Yeah, there you go. So dope.
Hello, we finally made it to CineQuest Day 1. We are doing the red carpet right now. And here is Hakim Brahimi, the lead actor of Montreal Girls, Kamal John Iskander, co-writer. And I want to invite you to come and join us here in San Jose on Saturday, August 20th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to present a special screening of Montreal Girls. So if you're in the area, make sure you come and join us. If not, make sure you like us, love us, follow us, and stalk us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, even Clubhouse, MontrealGirlsMovie.com.
All right. So that's a taste of what's going on there. And now I'm going to share for you the song made for that. It's Dark Poetry. And, you know, Facebook's funny about sharing music, but we're going to do what we do.
Yeah, bro. Professor Lyrical, Montreal. Throughout this journey of life, it's like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to me. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side when I'm writing this dark poetry. Throughout this journey of life, it's like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to me. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side when I'm writing this dark poetry. You can smell it in the air, there's something special today. I'm about to capture it and put it in a fabulous way. I'm happy to say you're checking out a verbalist now. Been serving these crowds, so I ain't feeling nervous no how. I swerve through your town, immediately eyes are on me. I got the confidence to get it like a college degree. No stopping me, G. I'm probably not the one that you'll sweat. Address me properly before you go and leave with regrets. Pardon-moi, mon ami. I don't want no beef, but I don't want no part of me. You better be keeping it peace. In Montreal, you know we all about them leaks, but never be ripping out my journal with or without them beats. That means I'm never loose sleep in it. I'm quality of beast with it. I'm probably not the person with the rehearsing smart competing with. I'm losing sleep with it. I am devoted totally. My journal by my side in the dark, creating this poetry. Throughout this journey of life, it's like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to me. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side when I'm writing this dark poetry. Throughout this journey of life, it's like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to me. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side when I'm writing this dark poetry. Listen, I fold my poetry into these paper planes, taking flight from Montreal so my dreams can maintain. These window panes, they hardly conceal pain. Clinging to a glimmer of hope to stay sane. Je t'aime la plume, loving these muses I'm using. figuring out the secrets through the music. I got my start, guitarra on my thought. Now it's golden ghost veils of smoke in the dark. Hoping to start up my journey as I venture down these mountains. Without fear in my heart, flow from these fountains. Staying like water as I fall on my dreams. Because I'm crawling in this life, not always what it may seem. I see my life up on the walls, hanging in galleries. Souls come and go and vanish again gradually. That's why I have to be doing something that spoke to me. This doctor feel good when I be dropping that dark poetry. Throughout the journey of life is like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to me. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side while I'm writing this dark poetry. Write these words to right the wrongs of those who would harm our souls and tell us we don't belong. But we still forgive and welcome them back in open arms. Hoping to start a revolution through poetry and music. Elevation and transformational change. Our muses are those souls who still remain to ease our pain and sharing our humanity. Throughout the journey of life is like poetry. Everywhere that I go, I'm keeping it close to you. Keep my journal eternally where it's supposed to be. By my side when I'm writing this dark poetry. Professor Level.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard the very end right there, but it said Freedom Corner is the brand. So yeah, shout out to everybody who was involved in that. Shout out to the Angel we had up last week with Trey from the Far Side, and shout out to his Angel really made that happen. So truth be told, so shout out to everybody involved. My name is Pro. That song is called Dark Poetry. Shout out to Chicatronica out there at the Cinequest Film Festival. Wishing you all the best on Saturday for the debut and the special screening. So that's real dope. Shout out to that pizza too. My goodness, Vincenzo's New York style pizza, crazy. I took the banner down because it was interrupting with the dark poetry thing right there too. So just gonna share the screen one more time, but not the song. Just y'all get another peek real quickly. If you missed it, this is what we're talking about. Dark Poetry just came out. Was it yesterday? Friday. Yeah, but today's Friday. What am I saying? Today's Friday. So today's the 19th. So we just released that yesterday. And this, just to share the screen one more time, so you see a little picture there. That is Dark Poetry. That's the cover. If you haven't added it, the link is in my Instagram. If you go to Professor Lyrical, if you want to click that, you can find it real simply at wherever you play your music. That is the YouTube. I have a love-hate relationship. I was just saying with topics. You can't really control your topic. It's generated by that's the Sony Orchard generated one. You can't really control it. You know what I mean? But you can control what flies in the building, because you can either bring them in or you can leave them back in the green room to eat snacks. And it looks like he's drinking some beverages back there. So Fly, you may have seen, we just played a little dark poetry for the people. That's out. I know you know that's out. So that's all I was talking about. So we're going to bring you in a sec. I think we're good. Yeah, let's get you in. Bam. What up, sir?
Yo.
How come you're so small? How'd you do that? There we go. That's the Fly. Look at that flower. That flower power. What is that? I gotta know what brand it has. It has a daisy. I don't know about that. What is that? I'm not hip to this. You made it match the A's. That's all I know.
That's all I know. That's all I knew. I had some and figured, man, let me just. I don't know.
You might be supporting illegal pharmaceuticals. We don't know what that means. That plant, or it could just be healthy living.
Well, I will say this about illegal car. Most of them are legal until people use them to do things, and then it's illegal. So,
point taken.
Yeah.
Point taken. So in its
Everything-
raw form.
everything-
But what you're
exactly.
saying, this could be a symbol for something we don't know. We don't know what the symbol is.
Exactly.
So I got to find out.
I'm with you on that. Nah, man, it's just
Good
I
to
was
see we're
at
both
Forever.
having beverages.
Yeah, I was at buying her some clothes, and they got a very small corner called the men's section. I'll call it the men's corner, and I just like, man, you know what, that shirt got.
I didn't hear what
Green
store
Door.
you said though. What store?
Forever 21.
Oh yeah.
Shout
I
out to
know
Forever
that's your
21
place.
too, man. 'Cause yeah, you know that's my spot, man. Because I'm trying to get a mashup.
Right.
So yeah,
I almost went in HM the other day. I know people that swear by HM. I've only been in there, like, truth be told, like 4 times. And it was like one day I was in there and I was like, oh, okay. And then the other time I was in there and it seemed like they were trying to do knockoffs of fancier stuff kind of thing and dumb it down with the labels.
That's exactly
and I was
what they
like,
do.
okay, I see what they're doing. I get it.
do.
I get it. Absolutely. But you know, sometimes
they
you just
show
need
you
to come in a black
that
tee.
it's the same thing. Or black tea, bro. I'm with that.
Nothing wrong, you know? Nothing wrong with the black tee. So man,
what's going good in your world, man?
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna say, how's the weekend review, man? I was like, you know, they treating you okay over there?
Man, so listen, I hadn't been working over a week.
What? Shout
yeah,
out to Jay
bro.
Hunt, by the way, and shout out to whoever Facebook user
Yeah.
is. What? What's going on? Is this needed vacay? Unwarranted vacay? Frustration with the job? Or what? I mean, only tell us what you can tell us. You know what I mean? Because these airwaves are free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know where these are gonna end up.
Exactly. Say this. So you know, I took a vacation. Starting last because my birthday was just Tuesday, and so I was going to be off anyway.
Why did we not? Yeah. Why did we not have that announced? This could have been the I mean, it still can't. The Fly birthday show. I mean, you know.
Right. The B-Day band. He's actually got.
Let me get on that right now.
My mom's birthday.
Say what?
My mom's birthday is the same day.
What?
In Texas. Yeah. So we were all together, man. Me, the fam, and that because the wedding, we didn't leave the wedding venue till like 11 at night or something like that.
Wait a minute.
And it just kind of spilled over into, you know, having some support from me, and I just couldn't go back to work when it came time. Probably would have been my first day back anyway for my vacation. And then, you know, we kind of talked about anyway how my sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
So me and then my mom really got me in a position where she could take care of herself, and so I had to step up. And so me and her been together every day since, all day.
Oh wow! Now she's at your place then?
Yep, she's at my spot. She's actually in the room over.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, man, really just prioritizing her health and thinking about going back to work. So,
wow,
I called and told them I needed to leave. So I'll be honest with you, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do after. I don't know. We'll see.
Because now you're also thinking like, hey, dude, you know, is this job the best thing for my health right now? Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's real. That's definitely real. That's you need that time to think it out, man. Figure it out. Nothing rash, I'm sure, but you.
Trying to take some time, man, and have much time for me, especially. It feels like the day they used to be. And honestly, man, it felt like it should probably be Wednesday. But it was definitely not something I was prepared to do as far as be with her every day and making sure she was getting back and forth. And, you know, she's not from here, so none of her care providers are here. So I'm having to try to do all this on the fly within 24 hours of each other, you know, primary care and all. So it's been a lot, man. I've been busy, honestly, stuff like that. And
right,
my wife started a new travel assignment, all day.
All this going on.
So at the same time, and my kids just started school.
Right. Oh, they did. That was gonna be the first thing I was gonna ask you. Did they? I was gonna say you got one more week or one more weekend, but they're all back.
They all back. Everybody's back.
And I know that means Mr. Mom in the morning.
Exactly. So I'm getting them up in the mornings and then checking on my mom, trying to get her to her appointments, calling and running, and trying to make sure I'm back home for in the time for them to get back off, and they all get off at different times. So yeah, it's a lot.
Man,
But
just getting one ready is a chore. I can only
yeah,
imagine.
man.
Man. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
I should say I can't only imagine. Just, you know. I've been in
Yes, man,
houses
Mike.
before where I've helped got four ready. Truth be told, and
Yeah.
one of them was pretty self sufficient, but the other three, is like I know what it's like to have four, but I could not even imagine in your world with especially having your mom and, ooh, that's yeoman's work,
Yeah.
man. Wow.
I will admit this though, that my children are up and get ready for school. They are pretty. I'll say that.
They cut out. You said they're
The
pretty,
biggest thing
and
is
then you said I'll say that because you're cutting it out just a little. I
they're
didn't hear
pretty
you said that.
self-sufficient.
They're pretty what? Oh, okay.
Point, we've been working on this for a while. Primarily because wanting them to be at work at a certain time it's always been critical that they understood.
And by the way, I think you can sit back. I don't think it's not your mic. It's your connection. So it's going a little in and out. Like every
my
like
connection,
8 seconds, it like you like lose a word maybe, but it sounds more like the Wi-Fi or something.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean, we lose like one word out of like 20. We got you.
All right, cool. Cool. I'm batting like 90.
Yeah, it's a high percentage, and it's always the worst word. Sometimes you'd be like, so I was just about to the Eiffel Tower, and it's like, what? Did you steal it?
What
Did
were you doing?
Did you jump it? Did you? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man!
So I couldn't believe he actually came up to me. So I had to, and then it's like, wait, what did you do? Yeah, I got you.
Did you do? I'm taking it one day at a time, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Take it slow. Take it thought out. And so let me ask you this: with your mom, is there any plans for her to go back or what? Not sure. Okay.
I know. I will say this. I know she don't really want to be here. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
All her life.
But she's getting care. Where she's here, this is probably the most care she's gonna get, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's really come to the realization older now, and my mom's always been self-sufficient and kind of independent. It's kind of why I got it from since I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. But I watched her for years just kind of get it by any means necessary business and stuff like that. And so she's always been self-sufficient in that way. And it's probably than anybody that's psychologically thinking about having the mind to want to do, not necessarily being able to do it. That's depressing, man. Mm. And so an adjustment for everybody too. I'm debating between going back to work, needing to be there for her to take care of her, and knowing that she really can't do it for her. I've never seen it. That was kind of made really it on my heart to really just go ahead and make this. So here we are, man.
Mm. That is tough.
I'm winging
all hands on deck kind of situation.
I'm probably as stable as to a plan, having a direction, having when it comes to income, and stuff like that, and having somewhere to be. I'm winging it, bro. Like this is it's a little
as you go,
scary.
Yeah, no, it sounds a lot scary. Tell you the truth, that's there's no real way to prepare for all that. It just kind of lands and it's like, ooh, it's the curveballs, man. It's a curve. And I can already think of like there's only like about 4, maybe 5 scenarios that actually even make sense in those situations, and they all have their trade-offs, and obviously what she wants is going to be high on the list, but there's only so many things you can do, so it's like, and then it either changes your entire world or a part of your world, and if it changes your entire world, it can change everybody else's world who you're responsible for, so or with, or what, so Yeah, never fun, never easy, but it does require
Tough.
time and it requires a level head, and which I know you have. So take your time, take your space,
My
and
wife's very supportive. So she's
that matters.
already, kind of. Yeah, of course, my kids love her. They my eldest son. My mom would always come and kind of through the pregnancy, the back end of the pregnancy, our birth,
What up,
and then
Jonah?
kind of like stay. She kind of stayed for a little while to help my wife out, make sure she was like that. I was always working, especially then when my children were being born. My
Right.
mom was always here, so they were so excited. They didn't know she was even here.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah.
And so they love having with them being older now than they were the last time she was here. Kind of like taking care of them, but now they like take care of her. So
Yeah. Yeah, and they get some
love.
grandma time out of it, but they're doing the caretaking. Yeah.
Yep.
They feel like big boys and girls, I'm
definitely.
sure.
Yeah, they do, and that definitely complements, that aspect of the more mature, involved, and responsible for something. So being able to help grandma out is something that they're in. Yeah, man, everybody's like you said, all hands on deck. We all pitching in to kind of help her out,
and then you have the whole
crazy.
Then you have the whole, like you said, first week of school thing. So how did that go? Is any great upset?
Good, man.
Anybody really upset about teachers?
Nah, everybody's good so far.
Yeah.
One of my kids, I hadn't even told their mom yet.
You cut out right there. What'd you say?
One of my bus. So
Still no, missed you again. Say it again.
Yeah, they fighting on the bus, man. On the bus.
Fighting on the bus. I didn't hear who's fighting on the bus. Other people or your kids?
Yes, he is.
Dude, I'm missing your words. One of your kids. Okay. Your kid had knuckle up,
one of mine, right?
Your kid had knuckle up. Huh? Which grade?
He's 4th grade.
No, knuckling up in 4th grade. No, don't tell me that because my son's starting 4th grade. No, my little 9-year-old, man. But I'm driving him though. They actually, before you get into it, they gave us a whole notice. They said, hey, the bus situation is not good right now. They said, Alexandria City, if you can take your kids to school, you might want to be doing that right now. So,
wow.
What up, Dazwan? They're like, yo, if you can take your kids, and we're like, we live like real close to the school, so we're like, oh, we're definitely taking them, And he's dying to take the bus, and we're like, nah, we're good. We're gonna drive you. We're dropping you off. Like you're getting dropped off this year and next year. You just don't know it. And so they were like warning us. And basically, with the reading between the lines, it was like we don't necessarily have the qualified bus drivers that we need right now. And you might want to think carefully about what that means for you, right? You know what I'm saying? They can only say what they can say.
Yikes.
And I respected the forewarning, but it also could translate to stuff like that. Like we might not have the people that know how to control situations. You know what I'm saying? So, you never know. So how? All right. So give me more. So what can you give me here about the situation?
And he didn't even tell me. And he's probably the most honest child that I had come home tells on himself usually.
Right.
And if you ask him a question, he'll give you the answer. Like true.
Right.
I don't know where he gets this quality from, and he'll just
so
like.
What was this truth? What was it? Get right to the truth. What was the truth, man? What was the truth?
Just like that, he kept pushing me, so I had to hit him.
He was calling him out.
Yeah, man. The child provoking him.
And it puts you in the tough place because you have to have this conversation. Yeah.
I got to explain to him, that, and he was able to articulate to me, the way he explained that it was one of those situations where I only did it because, I felt hurt. But he knows, to use preventive actions or whatever. First, it's just not allowed what he should have done.
It's like
what we talked about.
I don't want to bust you in the grill. I don't want to have to snuff you right now, but it might happen. I'm giving you fair warning, so it's not technically a snuffing. You know what I mean? It's just like step back. You might want to sit down. I mean, how does a fourth grader even have this conversation, right? It's like fourth graders are babies. You know what I mean? It's like but when kids are mad,
Yeah.
kids are mad. I mean, my kid can go haywire out in a second, and you never know.
And it's
You get them
temperament.
little
He's
babies mad, they start
highly
flailing, haymakers.
and ready to go. They don't have dogs have. They don't really think like we think. So their thing is, you're embarrassing me, challenging me, and
Yeah.
I only know one way out of this, and that's to fight you.
Yeah. Well, it's either to fight you or get take your pride with you and go sit somewhere else. Like, and you
9-year-old don't take
sometimes just can't do that.
hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really mad at them.
It really depends. It really depends because some experience with this too. It really depends what's waiting for you at home, and depending what the rule is at home. Sometimes by fourth grade you might not have had that discussion yet. In many cases, especially first day of fourth grade, where you're kind of like third grader still. It's like you haven't even got to school. It's like you're still in third grade mode. You haven't even got a taste of fourth grade, right? And it's like you basically a third grader extended, and it's like, okay, you're a third grader about to be really fourth grader. You've probably not had a big discussion on this, and it's like only when the scraps start. And they usually, honestly, start more towards fifth grade, sixth grade, once you hit, middle schools, depending, is this a K through 8 or K through 5 or K through 6? What you got?
Schools here are broken into almost 4 groups. They have and then there's east side and north side, which is one's 3rd and 4th grade, 4th, 5th grade, and then we have a junior high, which
So what's he
is all 6th grade.
So what's he in?
He's in the 4th grade, and so he's in the north side with his sister. He has a sister that's here.
No, but I'm saying, is he 4/5 or is he 3/4? I keep losing you, so I'm trying to get that word in.
He's in the 4th kind of school.
4th, 5th. Okay, so he's on the front side of 4th. All right, so they chop it up. I actually like that where they chop it up.
It's the same school. It's the one building.
Oh, okay.
Just split it in half.
I see. I see.
So as far as the actual bus is concerned,
so was it another 4th grader?
For the most part, it was a 5th grader.
See, that's the problem. And that's 5th grader knows how to talk tough and talk cool, and try to intimidate you or whatever. Yeah, I mean, no situation's the same, but it's like I just went into my kid's class today just to see his new teacher, and he couldn't go because it was the last day of camp, summer camp. So he made the business decision. I'm going to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not going to this first day of school to meet my teacher thing. He's like, my best friend is not going to, it's going to be the last day I see him or all this stuff. We're like, all right, we got you. So we went and checked it out. And these are babies, you know what I'm saying, coming in there. But his last year babies, who are now going to the 5th grade, they are hugging this guy like he's the best. I'm like, son, you got the best teacher in the school. Everyone's telling us, right? Like but they switch. They go through a door and they have like their English language arts and stuff with the other teacher. And he's like wailing that he has this other teacher. And really what's behind it is he's mad that a lot of the students from his last class are in the other side. They're not in his side. And so he's wailing about this. He's literally in tears, broken up. And then he's in tears about who the teacher is. And we're like, yeah, but you should be happy because all the students that you wanted to be with got this teacher that you're calling the bad teacher. You're in with the best teacher in the whole school that everybody's dying to get into. And he can't see that right now. He's just like, no, I don't want to be. I don't know. So he's crying and crying and crying. And it's like, they're babies. They're babies in disguise. I'm sorry, K through 5, you're babies. I mean, you can act whatever you want, but you're babies.
No,
you know your 9-year-old is trying to snuggle up with you in pajamas on the couch and stuff like that. They're still in baby mode, and we don't want them to have to get in those situations, but it's around the corner, and it's like they're putting it on Front Street. It's like sometimes if you haven't had that conversation at home, and you get the scary parent who's like, boy, you've been out here that you got in a fight. That can make your kid not knuckle up and then take the L. I've been in that situation, or you've been in too many fights and you're told, if you find out that you're in another fight and you provoked it, you're going to have something waiting for you. And that can make you, be like, right. I've literally taken one on the chin and been like, oh, I'm not throwing a punch because I don't want the back end percussion. And I'm like, ooh, let me act like a tough guy. Like, watch how much I can take a punch, And that was 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, let me, I'm not going to throw anything back because I've been in too many fights in 4th and 5th grade and, got the lay of the law. Like, I better not hear you provoking anything. And you're just like, whoa. So if you got that going on, that really confuses little kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I supposed to do? And then a couple years
Exactly,
after it,
and that's why
then it starts getting dangerous. You start getting near high school or upper years of junior high. Now kids are getting bigger, and it's like, okay, now it's not just some fourth graders.
and it's real fights then. At that
That's
point.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that point. I don't know. I usually try not to put that pressure on, like you said. We have had discussions because he has LOs all the time. So
yeah. What up, Charlie?
He's not in a situation where, I mean, he has a brother, and a brother that's 6 years older than he is, and so I mean,
Right.
he's fully aware like what it's like to be in a fight with someone bigger than he is. It's what it's like to be provoked. The baby of the family.
Legendary.
He acts like the baby, hugging and jumping on you, want to lay in the bed with you.
Yeah.
He's definitely that kid. He's definitely that kid, and so specifically had a discussion with them about decisions that you make. That if you choose to fight or not fight, there's always a consequence. You know the rules.
Right.
Follow the rules before they ride the bus. There's a list of rules that whether you start the fight or not, the rule means no fight. And so I try to handle them up to me and try to keep
such a gray area.
Them as clear, right? Because it is clear for them, so they can make a cognitive decision because he's so young. And so
here's the big decisions. There is no right answer for this as parents, by the way. I don't think there's any right answer for this. So there are so many variables. Like someone totally embarrassed you, calls you out, right? And there's the whole call out. And it's like, okay, are we expecting fourth graders to be quote unquote man or woman enough to turn the other cheek, right? To go the other way when they're being embarrassed,
right.
when they actually, and they probably are smart enough to know the repercussions. And you've probably had a discussion with them, like, it's that catch-22. It's like, are you just going to walk away? Or, then the repercussions of what that turns you into. And then it's like, are you going to throw first punch? There's that kind of question all the time, because there's one side of that philosophy is like, oh, you better throw the first punch. There's another side to say you better never throw a first punch, because we know the legal implications and so forth. And so, and then there's, did someone push you? Did they call you an unforgivable name? Did they question your parents, anything like that? There's all of these taboos. And it's like, someone come say some racist stuff to you, like, then it might be all bets off, go for the chin, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like,
right.
Do you think, then when they get a little older, especially, it's like, okay, are you thinking the fact that this person could have a weapon? And now you've just stepped into something that could be life threatening. You know what I mean? So there's so many repercussions. And I get so tired of hearing non-parents and non-teachers try to talk this out in some old school bully tough guy talk, right? It'd be like, yo, you're gonna question the manhood, man. It's like, bro, do you know how many people are dying for not wanting their manhood questioned? Like, all the time. Like, do you know? I mean, I don't have to tell you, Fly. I know where you're from. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we know the things that are going on especially in our city schools? Let's be blunt, right? Stuff is going on in our city schools are leading to, not necessarily leading to, but they may be leading to some of the consequences that we see play out when people are like, yo, what's up with the parents? Well, what about when there is no parent or there is no responsible parent? It's like people throw these things around like, yo, where's the parenting? Okay, there probably is no parenting. And so when you know that there's no parenting, now what does that mean when you've asked that question? Okay, so let me tell you the situation, right? There is no dad and the mom's working 2 jobs, doing best she can. She got 3 kids. So what are you saying now, tough guy? It's like,
right.
It's like you come with these things and it's like, okay, so now a kid's supposed to figure out his own. Who do you think a boy raised in that environment is going to turn to? A tough guy. That's who you're going to turn to most of the time, unless there's been some incredible intervention going on. Someone got the arm around you, showing you that love and hugging you and trying to that it's a man that you respect, probably, unfortunately, right? Telling you that it's okay to, if you want to give him the turn the other cheek talk or whatever, however you're going to couch that, it has a lot of repercussions for a lot of different situations. And people come with these ultimatums like, I know what's right. And it's like, bro, have you been in a school in 20 years? Do you know what it's like walking through? Like, when's the last time you were in a public school? And people think because of what it was when they were 18 or 15 or 12 or 10 or 5 that they have it figured out. It's like, I tell parents all the time, I'm like, if you are going to have a student in a school for the first time and you haven't been in school, let's say 20 years, in not the same block that you were on. Trust me.
Not the same.
The rules are different. There are some things that fundamentally stay roughly the same, but things are different. Parents, a lot of times, and adults that don't have any vested interest in this right now, it is not the same block that you left. Trust me. Things are very, very different, So unless you've been, to me, it doesn't feel that different because my entire life has been in this, right? So it's like, I left public school, went to college, a couple years off between. Now I'm back in high school for 6 years. Then I'm in a community college. Then I'm in a university, right? And then it's like, then I'm speaking in the schools. Then I'm speaking in the middle schools. I'm speaking in the high schools. I'm watching all these programs go. Then I'm in the colleges. Then I'm in the university. Then I'm speaking in the schools. And it's like, today I'm at my son's school. When you have a chance, and like you having a lot of kids, you know the reality of what the school's like. You hear the story every day. If you ain't been there and you don't have any vested interest in it, you're just guessing, and they have a whole different set of, just social media alone has changed the rules tenfold. So if you didn't grow up in the social media era, you have no idea.
No idea. And just imagine the level of distraction for the teachers.
Absolutely.
Possibly. If you're
all about
7th grade teacher or above,
good luck.
Every student is probably sending your class. And in addition to that,
they're totally immature. So they're going to do the worst thing possible every time. 7th, 8th grade. 7th, 8th, and 9th graders might be among the worst in the world in terms of maturity levels. And it's like, we like to think the 9th graders are so mature. And it's like, okay, bro, let's just do a little math. When you graduate, normally you're either 17 or 18. Most people are 18, right? So if we follow that math progression, it goes 17, 16, 15, which means they could have been 14 or they could have been 13 when they come in. 13 or 14 is what our 9th graders are. Think about yourself when you were 13 or 14. I was the most immature you possibly imagine. And you're going to give me a phone? You're going to give me a phone. And you're going to tell me, who's ADD, definitely just not tested for it, maybe ADHD, right? That I'm going to be able to handle a phone. And then we all know that the phone is the greatest thing in the world for children. So, to their mind, right? The potential of losing that phone. When I first was teaching in 2000, I saw people willing to knuckle up for a phone when the teachers would say, we're going to take your phone in 2000, when the phone could do it could play solitaire maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And play Snake on Nokia.
Yep. And maybe you could aim someone, right? You could instant message someone or American Online, or you could, started getting into text, right? It's like, and then I watched that over from 2000 to 2006 when I was doing high school, right? People were willing to kill, but you were like, you're going to take my phone away? Yeah, you take my life. And now it's tenfold. It's like tenfold. There is no way to survive if you are a freshman in high school or an 8th grader with a phone. And you got the pressures, by the way, in 8th grade to be figuring out who you're going to be. You got the cotillion, you got dances and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It is everything. Yeah, it's the mode of communication. Every kid in the class is talking to each other. I don't care how smart you think you are. Kids have got it figured out. So it's like, good luck. We get the most immature age group in the world with the most powerful devices in the world and are going through all kinds of changes in their life. And it's like, we're going to police them about their phone. It's like, good luck. Good luck. You take my phone right now, there's going to be a problem. I can only imagine if I was in 9th grade. Impossible.
Yeah,
it's funny because on the title for this thing too, I put I said basically, I don't believe the hype. It's still summer, and this is part of it. It's like we condense our summer down into such a short amount of time. I know parents a lot of times think the opposite because they can't wait for the kids to get back to school so they can get back to their life, right? And I understand that's very, very real. But in the reality of it, okay, summer, I put this into post. Summer is over a month more of summer until it's actually summer's over. Today is the 19th. I think summer, correct me if I'm wrong, September 21st, the last day of summer, right? It's usually around September 20th, 21st, 22nd. We got over a month of summer left. We've been mind conditioned that we're all of a sudden in fall. You know what I'm saying? Because schools, there's no consistent date. Like you just went to a school that started last week, right? Most schools are going back this week. Some school, I was talking to a colleague today, they go back after the 5th, right? Like the traditional date. It was always, at least it was in September.
At the Labor Day.
And this thing, and it's like, the pressure and the pressure cooker of let's give them more material, more testing, and we talk about, this is what kills me. We talk about mindfulness and wellness in education. And we talk about it in the workplace. You're dealing with it, right? We all dealing with it. Talking about mindfulness and wellness, me time. Are you giving yourself that self-health check? Are you giving, what are you doing for you? You hear all the gurus on Clubhouse all day, like, what are you doing for you time and all this stuff? And it's like, bro, the amount of percentage of people in this country that are educators that are going back, right? Who basically most, because they aren't paid enough, are forced to work some kind of thing over the summer anyways, right? And then go back to take care of your kids, my kids, everybody's kids, in a haywire world that don't pay teachers nearly enough. Kids are impossible
Nearly.
to really look over because they're craftier than the teachers with technology that's growing. And people wonder why there's like this mass exodus from teaching. And it's like, we shorten it. We're like, oh no, you need to come back for August 14th for like 3 weeks of professional development or whatever. It's like, chill. I'm a professional development person. I'm like, chill on the professional development. How about some human development? Like, how about some time off?
Right.
Like, how about we figure out ways to actually train educators where it's not a mad dash to the finish line and it's like you start shortening the summer. It's like, bro, do we really, who says we need 9 months to educate our children? It's like, it's such a babysitting factory where it's like, oh, we gotta have programming for the babysitting or the kids will get restless. It's like, what we need to do is figure out ways that we can educate shorter, more effectively, and make it fun. And if you can do that, you'd have more teachers wanting to do the job. You'd have more people respecting it because the outcomes would probably be better. You would have probably more creative things that you can do for daycare that are ran by schools that can shift off, shift on with, sometimes it's school faculty, sometimes it's professionals who are daycare people. Like, school can still be the institution that it is, but we have to admit that part of it is a daycare operation. And when we try to say, oh, we're going to fill 9 months with education, it's like, it's not working. It's never particularly worked. It's not like we have some golden old days in the United States of how education was perfect. It's like we've had underpaid teachers for millennia, and we've had less than lackluster results for this country, and every other country always crushes us under the table in like math and reading and English course.
Crushes us, bro.
Especially
crushes
math.
us. I
9 months though, that's the solution.
I've always wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to be a teacher. I still thoroughly enjoy teaching. I've always got my fix, developing training programs and stuff in the operations that I ran and stuff like that. I've always just been that type of person to go to school to be a teacher. Then kind of went through the whole process of understanding this kind of stuff. And I was probably like 21, 22, and I was already making more money than teaching. Now I decided not to do it.
Can't do it, yeah.
Because of that reason, I'm thinking about the investment that it took to do it. And for me, I already understood that something like that, which is a lot, it's a labor of love, like your reward goes beyond the paycheck. And I've been in the culinary and hospitality industry for the last 14 years, but I'm just like, labor of love, I might as well stay where I am.
That's a cop. To me, it's always a cop.
At that point, I was entry level in the hospitality industry and I'm making money in a degree. So I was just like, I couldn't even. I really just couldn't afford to do it as much as I wanted to teach. And so I've always said the salary for teachers is a must. It should be like federal law. Like there should be wage for teachers, and it should not be below $40,000. I don't care what you teach. If you're any subject, any grade, in the public school or whatever, it should be minimum 40. That's entry level.
I'll tell you the same thing. It's the same in the community colleges. It's the same in public universities where there's a lot of teaching, not just like professors doing research. They're paid way lower than you think too. And matter of fact, I'm going to share something that I did. I believe trying to turn faculty, I don't care what, if I'm in K-12 or if I'm in higher ed, I believe positioning the faculty as rock stars. I'm going to show you what I did at my faculty development yesterday. It's what I made for the faculty. Basically, it's a PowerPoint thing called a Prezi. It's kind of the same. I don't know if you've seen a Prezi, but hopefully this shares pretty well for you. So I'm going to share. Let me see. I'm going to share from over here. Let's see if we can get this thing in. Yeah, let me try it over here. Boom. This is trying to position our faculty with the respect they deserve, bro. So this is a Prezi. Back when I was first doing the show, I used Prezis. We did this, and so if you click on, these are our new faculty, and these are new bios that I made in conjunction with the faculty. Some of them had bios that were further along than others. Some just, some bullet points, some paragraphs. But when you click on a Prezi, it zooms in. So like we would introduce this faculty, like our dean would introduce the faculty member, we'd read their bio, go through their highlights. And this is a new person who's hired, and you want to position them as superstars. I'm not talking about necessarily concentrating in on all of them, but it's just that for purposes of our program. But these are amazing accomplishments these people have in life. This guy's aviation, unbelievable, human. I've not known some of these people very long because these are all new hires, but just in getting a chance to write their biographies, it's like, look at this guy. I mean, read this thing, right? This guy's teaching, and he's had major positions, and he's at a position at our school now. And you look at like what he's done, like a dozen peer-reviewed journal articles and scores of other ones, and, electrical masters of science, electrical engineering, PhD in physics, at like amazing institutions, and just doing incredible work. And they're, for the most part, relatively unheralded, kind of people until we position them, or they position themselves in these lights. And I think it's easier to do that, truth be told. I think it's easier to do that for professors because there's a higher esteem. Let's face it, right? What's higher esteem, teacher or professor, right? So there's an inherent higher, like you're not going to see on the news when they're like, yo, we're bringing in a professional to come talk about, biochemistry. They're not usually going to go, and we brought in this 11th grade high school teacher from, they're normally going to turn to professors because it's looked at as like expert status. So there's this inherent prestige that goes with professor. I don't call myself teacher lyrical, right? What I'm saying? It's like professor lyrical has a little higher cachet to it. And it's like, well, why does it have to be that when you think about the K-12 educator, 90% of them too got higher education degrees. Well, they all got at least a bachelor's in their field. And many have masters, if not doctorates. And they're paid, in some cases, horrific salaries at that one level down. And here's the real kicker. This is the thing that gets me. A teacher might be paid $60,000. In some parts of the country, that might be okay. In other parts, it's horrific, right? To work 5 periods a day teaching, 5 periods a day, and they have a prep period and a lunch. They might have like 2 blocks off, essentially, maybe one. It's usually one longer one that's like 40 minutes, and then another one that might be 20 minutes somewhere. So it might be an hour. And if you got school starting at 7:30 and you're getting out at 2:30 or something like that, we can do the math, right? 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Okay, people are going, oh, it's a 7-hour day. Of course, they're coming in early. They're doing the prep, and their time off is prep to get themselves managed for the next class. And if they don't use that time, what are they doing at home? They're correcting the papers and getting stuff ready in their private time. So you want to talk about mindfulness and wellness that goes out the window, and then people are like, oh, they have the whole summer's off. And it's like, bro, they're doing PD in the summer. They're getting ready. They're a lot of they're taking well-deserved time off. And I'm just saying it shrinks. They're underpaid. They got amazing credentials. And we forced this BS on them. That, oh, it has to be, like you said, it has to be this, like, it's a labor of love position. It's like, bro, I can't cut a check higher enough for my kids' teachers, especially the good ones. It's like, what do I got to do to make sure that my kids are getting paid at least $100,000? Because I want the best teachers possible. Why would we not want that? I don't get it. Bro. And then,
it's sad, bro.
So that CEOs can make 20, if not 100 million in their positions. 100 million, bro. The CEOs are right now. And a few years ago, the highest paid CEOs were 20 million, which is already ridiculous. But there's CEOs and companies now that are in the hundreds of millions, and the average employee is making like $45,000 a year. It's like, bro, do you know how many times $45,000 goes into 100 million? It's stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. How can people be getting 20 to 50 times paid more than you and do a job that's as cushy as CEO? It's unfathomable. And we look a blind way, just like we do the same argument that we're going to have about entertainers and basketball players and athletes, and we don't look at the owners. And it's like, no, that's cool. It's the owners. And tell me that ain't white supremacy. Tell me that is not the definition of white supremacy. We're not going to look at the rich white owners. We'll go and look
We're
at
gonna
the black and
complain.
brown athletes for the most part and complain about them. And tell me that ain't a plantation situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And we as public are not trained to point at the rich white guy. We never do it. We never do. We're like, oh yeah, okay. No, don't lose the fact. Don't lose that part of the discussion. I don't care if you don't like LeBron James. You should never point a finger at LeBron James if you don't know the name of his owner. His
Right.
owner. Listen to the way I said that. You know what I'm saying? And it just kills me. Yeah, and then teachers are getting paid, $50 grand a year. But like, what? How is this true?
Yeah, bro, it's rough,
And
man.
how are we number
And
23 in the world?
I've always, and speaking of that, that teachers get, man, I've always employed teachers over the summer. They came and worked for me,
Yep.
As a prep cook or something like that, to supplement the fact that, they may extend it over a 12-month period while they're not working, but it just means they get less every month. They're not necessarily getting more money.
That's it.
Supplement their income.
I've been there.
And I know this because of having these discussions almost every summer, looking for jobs, things they can do to make more money, while they didn't have to be in the classroom over the summer to supplement.
Right.
over the
And these are
summer.
people with minimum bachelor's degrees.
Right.
Minimum bachelor's degrees, right? And many of them have master's degrees, and they're doing whatever they gotta do. It's like, bro, and then people get mad at unions, and it's like, you're mad at the union? Like, I understand, frustrated. Like, not all unions are created equal. I get it, but like, people gonna bash unions, and it's like, bro, I understand. Different industries have different situations, and it's very easy to point fingers. But it's like, don't be getting mad, because what we're trying to do is not have people need to work second jobs that are out of their field when we're talking about highly educated people that could have a value or should have a value that's much higher, but we don't place the priority as a society on education. And we don't place the priority of pointing a finger at rich owners of any corporation. We're just like,
the reciprocity of that too.
The COVID conspiracists will get mad at Big Pharma for 5 seconds when it has to do with COVID and taking a vaccine, but they won't get mad when they're arguing about males need to take testosterone or whatever. It's like, how is that not Big Pharma? It's like, you see how this is like the big rage too. Like, you're testosterone grifters sitting out. They're in Clubhouse every day trying to sell like all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you the same people. I know you are. There's a strong overlap in your demographic who's like pumping like BS stuff like testosterone enhancement and stuff like that, right? Which is Big Pharma, but there's no problem there. But if you need to take COVID vaccines, like conspiracy is a lot of out of whack things, bro. There's a lot of out of whack.
It's a lot, bro. And I, like you said, man, it's an investment for us. And when you think about our educators, are the constants in our society, the people who's valuable people in our entire society, our educators. Just that alone kind of emphasizes their value. Like the fact that all of our children, with the small group of people who may, do over the years, that number has increased over the years. But for the most part, I mean, it's the kid has to go to school. And so you have this society, which is the school system. I can't think of anything more relevant. So,
no, I can't. I got 3 for you though. I got 3 for you to your point, because I feel the exact same way. I can't think of anything more important. But I got 3, and you tell me if they're among the most paid. Here's the 3 most important things I think that if, as a public society, if we were going to make the perfect country, what we'd want the best educators in the world, right?
Number 1,
we'd want the best educators as an investment, right? We would want the best healthcare professionals in the world. And we'd want the best, and I'm going to count this not as educator because it's a different job, the best childcare people in the world, right? Childcare, right? I'll say healthcare in general, which could mean like when you become a senior as well, right? So we want healthcare, we want childcare, and we want education. Then you can make an argument in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world, so it's hard to necessarily agree with this one, is that we would want our correctional institutions to have the best and most well-trained people, so we wouldn't have all these problems that we have, right? Imagine if like there were no bad apples, right? Imagine if every policeman was like truly your best friend, like you're taught they are when you're like 2, right? Like, oh, look at Mr. Policeman. And Mr. Policeman really was the best and the brightest, and and they were like counselors, and they looked out for you, and they tried to protect you. And
I can rock with that.
Like,
I can rock with that
if it was true. Yeah,
I
if
can
it was
rock with
true,
that.
you'd
Yeah.
want, exactly, right. We'd want the greatest crime. Think of them as superheroes, crime fighters, and mentors, and like, yo, how much I'd pay $250,000 to have like a superhero who's also a mentor, who's also a counselor. Like that's an amazing job, right? And
And protecting my
and then you can start
home and
going
my
from there. That's right. That's right. And then you can maybe get into debates around the other stuff in terms of like, okay, do we want like the best politicians? Like, but right now we're biased and jaded by what we think of politician, right? Because we, until recently, we didn't have that when we said judges. We used to think of judges as mostly on the up and up, right? We didn't think of you by the judge was a lot harder, right? So in a perfect world, you'd want these idealistic, noble philosophers sitting on the highest courts in the land, right? If it wasn't corruptible. Same thing with police, same thing with whatever. I mean, we tend not to think of teachers and stuff as like, yeah, there's a lot of issues, but we're not thinking of like teacher corruption as a
right.
big thing, but we think of police corruption as a big thing, or lawyer corruption or whatever. Or spiritually, right? We know the Catholic Church, right? You would like to think that those people would be beyond reproach. Nope, right?
Nope.
And that's in a totally different kind of category, but it's like, and by the way, I'm not advocating that some of the most highest paid people should be our clergy. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying if we were to start from, what things you'd be willing to pay for, that would be hard to argue in a perfect world. We've done it backwards. And only one of those made it. It's our medical professionals. Why is it that we're willing to give the doctors top dollar? And right now, we think the doctors are lying cheats if we're COVID conspiracists. We think all of a sudden now they're all in on a big
Right.
conspiracy.
And they're
right?
all,
And
they always
they're all,
prescribing us medication because they're getting kicked
right.
back. Some of that is
Right.
was actually conspiracy.
Some of that's true.
But
some of that is true, but some of that, but it's kind of like both things can be true in that too. You could be peddling a product, making a kickback, and it could be a good product, right? Like it's not always
you could really
as
believe
bad
in it.
as like when I was working in like rental cars and stuff, you get kickbacks from recommending someone to go on a tour. Now, if I like that tour and I'm telling you to go on this tour and they throw me $5, like I don't feel any shame. It's not like I'm telling you to go to something that sucks. Or it's like if I'm recommending this hotel or this restaurant and it sucks. It's different. And it's some of the same things too. Like you got two things. You got Excedrin and Bayer or whatever it is. And like you probably know they both are basically the same. If someone's going to throw you some money, like that might just be the reality of the business. And it's like, okay, at the end of the day, maybe the doctor is making a little bit else. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing we can get into with overpriced stuff, the price to go to college. And we know doctors and stuff, we always quick to say how rich they are. You know how long it takes for a doctor to pay back med school? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And a lot of them have to buy into their practice. This is another thing most people don't know. A doctor will come in when they're coming into a practice. Sometimes they're buying into that practice, meaning like they don't. They have to buy in to actually reap the reward, and it takes years to get that investment paid back. On top of what they have for school. And so the pressures are real. And this we're saying, pressures can make people corrupt just like it happens with politicians all the time. But if you were to start over, fundamentally over, I think most people would agree, if our teachers aren't near the top, what in the world are we doing? But instead it's and you see it here in DC, it's people who are part of massive arms contracts or part of massive whatever contracts, right? The ed tech space is insane. And you think about it, they're selling to schools who are not paying the teachers, but they're paying out to these contracts for these ed tech companies like the big publishers and all the subsidiary companies that make the technology that are multi-million dollar contracts that are getting paid out. But the end user of those is getting paid $50,000, $60,000 a year to teach 5 classes a day and go nearly insane. So that there's a great exodus and people are like, wonder what's happening. Why are people leaving? And you're looking at these people coming in and it's like, yo, you know who's hiring the teachers? People in the ed tech space. Because they're like, hey, you want to come over here for $100,000 a year? Or do you want to stay in your job? Maybe you're doing okay and you're making 62. Hey, you want to come over here for $100,000? You don't got to deal with be a counselor, be a parent, be a mentor, be a
everything
rewarding,
baby
in short amounts, stressful and large.
And then, bro, that's the idea. In some of the best environments, you have public school sectors that actually student to teacher ratios at a certain. But if you're inner city, even 25 students in there and one teacher, no assistant, like be at that job, and then to think and think that you're spending probably that time doing something that has nothing to do with teaching. You correcting behavior, redirecting, or threatening to take cell phones, asking someone to be quiet. It's taking you 15 minutes to get the kid to stay in a straight line. Like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot for 45.
It is a lot. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, depending what part of the country you're in, those numbers, it's not unheard that some of those numbers are in the 30s.
It is in the 30s, bro.
A huge chunk of them is in the 50s. And then you start getting lucky when you're in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s.
That's gross income, bro. Man, after doing all that, man, then you still got to pay taxes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you know one thing you're not getting in teaching world, you ain't seeing bonuses.
You're not seeing bonuses.
There's no bonuses, bro. You're not seeing bonuses like corporate world.
There's really no incentives as a teacher.
Right.
And then some of these
if you
even come out of their pocket in the classroom on top of that.
Right. We know that. So if you're a good person who wants to make a difference in the world and you're trying to pick a degree that you want to do and you get this big college to pay off or whatever, and you made the mistake of going to a big expensive college and where you didn't have it free or heavily discounted and you didn't go the community college or public education route and then knock it out the park and then transfer like I'm always talking about, which is just smart to do, or get someone to pay for your master's and doctorate later and, make up for the name on your first school wasn't as impressive, right? Because it was a community college or public university. People like, I like say this to people as like sort of a professional development kind of tip. It's like, bro, I got a doctorate. No one's asking me about my bachelor's degree. No one's, when someone goes, hey, where'd you go to school? They basically are talking about the top degree, right? They might want to talk about the middle degree, but very rarely are they even asking anymore about the bachelor's. And they definitely wouldn't have asked about going to community college. Like, yo, where'd you go to community college? Yeah, no one cares. Like, it's like, yo, so if I walk in the door and I'm Dr. Plord, they're not asking me about my associate's degree. I don't have an associate's degree, but if I did, they wouldn't ask. They don't care. They wouldn't say, yo, how many of those credits did you get in dual enrollment when you were in high school? It's not a thing. No one cares. And so it's like, if you can transfer out of, moral of the story, you can transfer out of a community college and go to a state school, or someone's going to pay for you to go to private school because you killed it in those 2 years. That's free money, bro, that you don't have to pay yourself back on some ridiculous loan that you're never going to be able to pay back unless you're making sick money. So my point is, of course, you're going to go for that Wall Street job. Of course, you're going to go for that big pharma job, even if you have these noble aspirations, because you can't exist. You can't live the lifestyle that we've been perpetrated with our whole life that we want to attain by doing things in the current value system that we have. You can't go be a teacher and really feel like you're going to make a difference because you're still paying back school loans that you cannot pay back, making $45,000 a year or $60,000 a year. And now you're trying to save the babies and you can't save yourself. You got to put the gas mask on the plane first on you, and it's so where you're going to go? Wall Street. And then you can lose your scruples and lose your morals and lose whatever. And it's very difficult to find time to give back. And I think a lot of those people are great people, but it's like, how are they going to show it? How are they going to do it? You get caught up in that world. Now you're working the rat race 8 to 8, bro. It's a system, bro. And it's like, and so what you get is a bunch of resentful people in education or whatever field they're in that are trying to save the babies, and they're expected to suck it up for the rest of us. And no, you don't get bonuses. No, you can't. It's got to be altruistic, man. If you're a good teacher, you better pay that teacher. And I'm like, let me find the way. So if I can't find a way to write them up as superheroes, I mean, then I'm miserable because I got to find a way to exalt the teacher. I got to find a way. And then the students exalt them, and then it works as a respectful system and everything's hokey dokey. But that's a minimum anyways. If you can't give them that money. So what I'm going to do in my position,
reform, bro.
Right. But on little pieces, like if we get the right people in the right positions, you can have people that move the needle a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm going to show, like right now, I send opportunities to be on podcasts to my faculty. I'm like, yo, I was on a podcast 2 days ago. It just came out. Guess what? I don't want to be the only one. Guess what? I'm going to send you opportunities to get in podcasts that I know align with the stuff that you do. Why would I not do that? And luckily, because I have a title of faculty development, I can do that, but that's what I want to do. Like, yo, I got this thing that's going to make Fly look good, and Fly works in my school. Man, let me pass that over to Fly because I want Fly to stay. I want Fly to be like me. I want Fly to have things and lights that talk about him when he comes to the school to talk. And if people don't see themselves in that light, they just keep their head down and they just, accept their lot in life. And I'm like, no, bro. You are a superstar to these students. These students want you to be a superstar. Just like we want our comedians to be funny when we go pay for them. Just like when we go to a rap show, we're hoping they're dope. You hoping you see in the next big thing. You hoping, everyone's hoping You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but when we walk in with our tail between our legs, we're like, yeah, I'm just the teacher. It's like, bro, you shooting yourself in the foot, man. I know they may not be paying you that way, but if you can carry yourself in a light that is worthy of that, then, the minimum I can do anyways is just help shine a light on it. And because it's frustrating otherwise. It's just like, let's exalt these people, who have achieved and are giving back and don't get paid for it. So
That's why you make
yeah,
the
man.
big
That's
bucks,
it.
man. Why you the faculty developer.
That must be it. That must be it, man.
That's it,
That
man.
must be.
We need more people like you, man. We need you should probably be one of our educational reform, man. I've always felt that way about education system. As just a regular taxpaying citizen, it would take to pay our educators more money. They're of our society. I cannot stress that enough, bro. And to your point, people like myself, and I'm just saying these as an example, I would make an excellent teacher. Financial choice to go into another direction. Yep. So when you say that, you think, man, how many great educators aren't created equally either. Even though they may all have bachelor's degrees, some are better than others. Right. Like true rock stars are you missing out on because it doesn't pay enough.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I say it's unlimited, and it's if you want to start it over, and we talk about this all the time, and we get into, and I know we got to wrap this up, but we get into I will never let this drum not be beaten. Property tax defines where you go to school. It defines the quality of your school. And so now what you have is desperate parents and desperate families feeling like the only option they have to do is to send their kids to charter schools if they're so fortunate. And we know, unfortunately, the dark side of that is that we are snaking money out of the public school systems to give it to the few in charter schools who are lucky and fortunate enough. And I can't be the one to tell the parent, if you're in a bad school, if you know it's a bad school and your only option is getting your kid into a charter school, you're going to try to get them into a charter school. Yep. I understand it. But charter schools, to me, also have a dark side that we have to address. And it's like, if we don't have those honest conversations, then we're going to leave it to corporate ran entities that function like corporate boards that come in and work on even though they're called not-for-profits in many cases, some of them are ran by boards that are profitable, right? And so there's a dark side to this. Shout out to Chris Farrell too in Boston, who really has done a lot of good journalism about sort of the dark side to charters, and really kind of exposing some of, it's not every charter school, but it's like parents got to do their due diligence to actually just think. I know it's really hard. I'm never going to tell the parent what to do on their kid's situation, but it's like, at least look at the other side and see, like, are you siphoning money away, from your school,
public school?
Right, to go create this charter on a hill kind of thing, and is that the solution that we want? Could it be that we are still okay with the fact that as long as you're born into the wrong zip code, that we're okay with you being a have-not because of everything from redlining to segregation still in effect in many of our large cities, that we know we can name the blocks and be like, okay, this block right here is 100% below the poverty threshold, and we know the majority of the people that live in that community are Black and brown. And how are we going to say that we have unsegregated the school, desegregated the school systems, when we know by area code and property lines or whatever, and then we know how that plays out in the schools? Taxes are still the fundamental basis. It's property tax that determines the wealth of your school. That determines the quality of the teacher indirectly, the administrator indirectly, and the tools and equipment and the resources that school has. So we are perpetuating inequity through property tax system, which has to be abolished. And until that's abolished, and until there's something that truly rectifies that, this segregation since 1964 that is supposed to be off the books is still on the books.
Still on the books.
It's still in play. Because I can go tell you I'm sure you can do it in every city that you live in. You can go say, oh yeah, where's the Black and brown community? As long as you can do that, there's an issue. You know what I'm saying? And conversely, we can say, where's the white community? Or where's the Jewish community? Or where's the what have you community? When you can do that, which we know we can do, especially if you live in a big city, So you don't have to think about these things if you live in rural America, because there's only one person living in rural America for the most part. It isn't an issue to Central America. And where there's a large amount of voters that aren't, this isn't even an issue to, they're like, what are you talking about? What are all these crazy people
Right.
on the coast talking about? But until you take a trip to Boston or to a Washington, D.C. or to a Chicago or, you know, what have you, pick your big city, and we know the reality of what's going on in that city, it's not an issue except for people that live on the coast. And, you know, which is largely where this stuff happens. Big cities, Chicago probably be an exception, but kind of on coast as well. It's just not seawater. But, you know, it's just
Right.
wherever there's large transportation issues. I mean, you got to think about like what makes a city a city. It's like there's got to be a way to get there. There's got to be transportation. It's got to be a destination. It's got to be a place usually with a port. It's got to have trains, buses, planes, automobiles, boats, right? That's why. It's not like there's something special about Boston and New York or whatever. It's like they're on the harbor, right? Historically, that has been the way you get places. And then guess what happens? Trains get built there. High-speed rail gets there. Industry, commerce, tech, education. These are why these things happen in big cities. Supply and demand, more people are demanding to be in those places because the quality of life is actually better because of the resources that are allocated in those places. So then everyone's fighting over scraps to get there, and then it has a self-defeating prophecy by which that community now becomes the have-not because too many people are fighting for table scraps. And then with redlining and all the other things that we've historically been able to do, we've ensured that the communities look the same and are relegated to until someone wants to come and put a Brugger's bagel and a Five Guys and try to gentrify the area, and then you have the catch-22s. Is that helping or hurting? You know, you see the Five Guys coming, and you know what's happening, right? And
you know,
so
the
it's
gentrification
like, now the property
is
goes up,
bro.
color moves out. You know, you see blonde ladies walking their dogs and in biker shorts and doing their thing. And it's like, okay, you know, here it is. And I'm not mad at the people moving in. I can't be mad at the individual. We got to be mad at the system. You know what I mean? So
it's the system, bro.
Yeah, because
we
biker shorts and puppies need places too. I'm not mad. No, absolutely. And you're right. You know, just to say it, I got excited about coming out here to DC because there is a lot of policy talk. And you're right. Like I've always wanted to be like kind of around the policy and around the education or whatever. And then it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like, oh, I see that job over there. Like I feel like I can make an impact there. It's always judging where you can make the most impact, what's best for your family, what's best for the things that we love in our lives too. And it's like, unless you have outlets like this to even talk about them, if it's not your day-to-day career, then people can get frustrated, and you know we know what happens there. And so people blowing gaskets and so forth. So
that shit
at the end of the day,
bro.
ProQuo Show, babe. No, I'm just saying the ProQuo Show, man. It's made to remedy a little of that, at least for like us, you know. And for those
shit calling, bro.
Maybe while my hair's still relatively dark color. I don't got long, bro. I don't got long.
Reform is your calling, bro. That shit calling, bro. That shit mastered the first phase of life, bro.
I hope so, but I think my calling is also writing these rhymes and teaching these babies and making these schools work, and you know, trying. We can only have a few Collins, man. We got to just figure them out. We got to figure them out, make them all work.
I feel you too.
All right, Fly, my brother. I know, man. Well, handle yourself well, man. Give yourself that time for those quality decisions and space that you're gonna need to figure it all out. And I wish you the best, and let me know how it goes, bro. I'm here, man.
Right, bro.
I don't know what I can do, but I can listen. All right.